YouTube, it's your favorite chef, Chef G, back in the kitchen. Today we're going to be showing you some knife skills and knife cuts. So we're going to be using our pillar today, our steel to get an edge on our knife, and a chef knife. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to get our chef knife nice and sharp, just by running at a 45-degree angle on both sides, about 7 to 8 times. Okay, and we're gonna get ready to cut some knife cuts, in which you'll use a lot in the culinary industry as well in a lot of culinary kitchens. So before I use my chef knife, I'm going to rinse it off just to make sure I have no metal fragments on there from the sharpening or the building up the edge on the knife. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a green onion and we're going to do a bias or diagonal cut on the green onion. Okay? All right, so first things first, we're going to make sure there's no bad parts on our onion, which there is not. We're going to cut off our root end, the furry end, and discard of that. You're going to turn your knife to about a 45-degree angle. Make sure that you use the claw. The claw mode. Make sure you claw your non-dominant hand. Hold your knife, thumb on one side, point on the other. Other 3 fingers are on the blade of the knife. The handle of the knife. All right. Keep your claw close to your chef knife, the tip of my knife, whenever you leave the cutting board. As you see, I make my cuts and then I rock up to the next portion of my green onion. Okay, I will always stop in between just to kind of get your product over out the way so it doesn't get crushed as you're cutting the rest of your onion. Okay, so just cutting on a 45-degree angle is either a bias cut or a diagonal cut. Okay, and there you have it. All right, the next cut we're going to make is our rondelle. So I'm using a zucchini, and the only way you can make a rondelle cut is using a circular shape produce. So like a carrot, a zucchini, cucumber. So anything that is circular, you can do. An onion will work to make rondelles as well. Tomato. Okay. A rondelle cut is a disc shape cut that can be thin or thick. Okay. So we're going to do this about 1/4 inch thick for what we're going to be making our rondelles for. All right. Always make sure you wash your produce. What I'm going to do is go in here and cut my ends off on both sides, just a little bit of it, because we don't want to waste product. And I'm going to do my clawing motion. My chef knife is properly in my hand, and I'm going to do my rocking motion, 1/4 inch thick. So what I'm doing is using my claw hand as a guide to get my 1/4 inch thick rondelle slices. So each time I move my hand back about a 1/4 inch, and I push my product forward to go under my knife. And there you have rondelle zucchini. About a 1/4 inch thick. You can make them thicker if you like. You can go up to as much as 1 inch thick for different recipes that you may use the zucchini in. But this is a rondelle. Okay. All right, the next cut I'm going to do is a chiffonade. So I have some kale here that I have washed already. What I'm going to do is take out most of the stem, and by doing that, I'm going to turn it and pull it from the middle and just pull away the leafy portion of the kale. Okay. To chiffonade, you're only going to use this for leafy greens such as kale, collards, cabbage, lettuce, basil. So anything that's a leafy green. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my kale, kind of open it up, place one leaf inside of the other, and then I'm going to turn it horizontal, and I'm just going to roll it. Okay? My end result should be, after slicing this, thin ribbon-like pieces. So same thing, make sure you get your clawing hand ready, your knife in the proper position, and we're just going to go through and slice thinly. And you can do this thicker if you like, but we're just going to do thin, just for what we're using it for. Okay. And you should end up with thin ribbon-like pieces. Okay, so this is chiffonade. Thin ribbon-like pieces. Used on leafy greens. Chiffonade. All right, the next cut we're going to do is called slicing. Very simple. It can be done on mushrooms. It can be done on the zucchini. I'm going to do it on my bell pepper. So I'm going to show you an easy way to kind of de-seed a bell pepper. Okay, so it's a little green and orange. So you can use a red pepper, a green pepper, orange, or yellow. All right, so I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going to go about a half of an inch into my product to expose where my seeds are. And then I'm just going to go around that middle portion, making sure that I don't hit the seeds, and make sure I get all of my pepper. And I always like to go in and get that bottom piece of the pepper as well, so we don't waste a lot of product. We're going to put our part that we're going to dispose of to the side, and we're just going to go in here, making sure we're properly holding our knife, claw on with our non-dominant hand, and we're just going to go in here and slice. And you can slice this as thin or as thick as you want. Okay, I'm going to do fairly thin, about 1/4 of an inch. So this is called slicing. Okay, I always use the claw. Hold your knife properly with your pointer on one side, your thumb on the other. Your other 3 fingers should be on the handle. Okay, and this is called slicing. All right, the next cut I'm going to make are my Julienne, my bâtonnet, my Brunoise, and my small dice, all out of this 1 carrot. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go here and peel my carrot. You want to make sure you always peel away from yourself. Start at the top, go to the bottom, and make 1 clean slice each time until you have peeled the whole carrot. We're going to get rid of our peeling. We're going to get rid of our peeler. And what we're going to do is take our chef knife. We're going to cut off that very tip of our carrot and the very top of the carrot. So we're not going to use that. Now what we're going to do is going to make 2-inch thick pieces. So I'm going to use my claw as my guide for about 2 inches. Okay, so I have my 2-inch pieces. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this and I'm going to square it off to make it as much as a square with 4 sides as possible. So after the first cut, you want to kind of go perpendicular on the next side so you can get a nice squared off piece of carrot. Okay, so I have my nice squared off piece of carrot. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to make planks. Okay, I'm going to do them 1/8 of an inch thick for my Julienne. which is fairly thin. Okay. Some of them didn't kind of cut great at the top, but that's okay. Practice makes perfect for this. Okay, as you notice, my piece got too thin, so I put my finger on either side, put my knife between, and make my cut. All right, so these are called planks. Okay, so I'm going to take my planks, I'm going to stack them on top of each other, and I'm going to do sticks that are going to be 1/8 of an inch thick. Okay, very thin pieces, as you can see. All right, so really thin pieces. So from this, I can make a Broomoire dice cut. So I'm going to take a few of these carrots, and I'm going to kind of gather them together, and I'm going to cut them into squares. And as you notice, the speed of my cutting, this comes with experience. The more you practice, the better you'll get at your speed, okay? So now I have Brunoise pieces of carrot. So what I did was take my Julienne pieces and dice them to be small squares, which are called Brunoise. So these are Julienne, these are Brunoise.